I wanted to gab with you girls. So kind of fascinated by what YouTube likes, Why does my timeline, when I log into YouTube without an account, show me certain things and not other things? Do you ever think about that? A lot of people laugh at me when I tell them that I make YouTube videos, It's kind of a thing that a lot of people look down on for whatever reason, but the point is that you can't do it unless you're fascinated in this sort of thing, because analytics are tough and most YouTube accounts never get past 1,000 subscribers, Anyway, I was fascinated in particularly Trisha Paytas because I've been watching YouTube for a long time and she's been on YouTube for a long time. I was a fan of hers when I was younger, but only incidentally, because I only knew of her via Gigi Gorgeous. How many of you are in the same boat as me? Gigi Gorgeous introduced you to this train wreck. Well, I don't mean that in a derogatory way she looks. I mean in a way she is and acts, And I don't wish her hate. I don't wish her ill will. To be honest, I can tell she's not mentally well. That being said, that is no excuse, So we're not here to shame people or anything. In fact, we are going to take an inspiration from Trisha and go in with this off-balance palette. Because she herself has said that she is suffering from many mental disorders, right? But that's the thing. She's been on YouTube for how many years profiting off of said mental disorders. And she thinks that it is an end-all be-all. Oh, well, you can't criticize me. You can't criticize me because I'm mentally ill. And I wish that worked, sweetie, because if that was true, then nobody would be able to criticize me, because for most of my life I've been depressed, which, by the way, you can say that depression isn't real, you want, Trisha, but you've said basically everything you possibly could in your years on YouTube to piss people off. So that's the thing. She's lost all credibility at this point. If you are not familiar with Trisha Paytas, maybe someday I'll do a video giving you a rundown on why you shouldn't feel empathy for this woman. Again, that doesn't mean you should send her threats or death threats or anything like that. I just don't believe that her content is good, and I don't believe that she as a person is good. Do you know what I mean? Let me give you an example. Nikocado Avocado. How did I discover this train wreck of a channel? If you know who Nikocado Avocado is, he essentially eats himself to death. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. That's part of his shtick. He's like, I'm disabled now because of you. It's your fault. He likes to play up a character, as he calls it. But how much of a character is it when it's real? He's gone quite on quite a transformation on YouTube. And a lot of people talk about him, they get a bunch of views because they're like, this guy's killing himself. People are really fascinated by it, which is why he gets millions. He doesn't get millions anymore. He gets hundreds of thousands. But his content is literally just him eating a copious amount of food while people hate on it. But he's made so much money off of YouTube. And he said that before YouTube, he was a struggling violinist. And he was never able to make ends meet, and he had an eating disorder, and he wasn't able to afford to live, essentially. Which is a really macabre thing to think about, because people like Nikocado Avocado are kind of created out of necessity. And he himself said his number one inspiration was Trisha Paytas. So let that sink in. Trisha Paytas has been on YouTube for way too long. She's been on YouTube since the beginning. If she's inspiring people, she's inspired people like Amberlynn Reed, Nikocado Avocado, and if this is her legacy, it makes you wonder what her legacy is going forward. Well, you might be wondering, why am I so fascinated in her lately? Well, I just found out she's about to have a child. And again, no judgment. All sorts of people become parents. But I have a particular macabre fascination, and you can judge me all you want, but the truth is that most of y'all who are watching me have a macabre fascination with trans people, okay? It's true. Like, my boyfriend, he interacts with my videos, and I love him, but now all YouTube ever recommends him is hot trannies. And I don't mean that in, like, a derogatory way. I mean that in, like, a, this is real, let's talk about it. That's the niche of YouTube I'm in. So when I try to upload a music video, it doesn't get the same kind of views as if I upload a before-after transition video. That's why I find channels like Amberlynn, channels like Trisha, channels like Nikocado interesting. Because their content is essentially nothing but them killing themselves. Anyway, so you might be thinking, Lyra, why are you talking yourself in a circle ranting about this? Well, Trisha is famous for doing exactly one thing. Pissing people off. She's very famous for saying, like, oh yeah, I knew I wasn't that talented and I wasn't that likable, so I figured, how am I going to make it online? I know, I'm just going to piss as many people off as possible. And it's kind of genius. I mean, that's what Trump did, right? But I think YouTube is to blame. I do, because Trisha has been in my recommendations for years. She's been in my recommendations for years. I, as a kid, didn't know anything about her other than she had been in one or two of Gigi's videos, but I, at a young age, was taken to a channel where she was talking about prostitution. She was talking about, like, dating, like, sugar daddies, and don't get me wrong, I'm not judging or hating on her, but it's interesting that that up until that point was not really exposed to that, you know? I was in, like, gaming YouTube, and that was mostly it. Now we're going to go into Ultraviolet, in an interesting era of her career now, where I haven't even gotten into the recent stuff with, like, H3H3, frenemies. Most people who hate on Trisha now, honestly, got into hating on her because of that whole fiasco. But people like me have been on the sidelines watching this shit show for years. And I mean years. Because I haven't been subscribed to Trisha since like 2014. I'm not even kidding. It's been that long. And since then, she's had countless scandals. She has claimed to have dissociative identity disorder right after a YouTuber with dissociative identity disorder came out about it. And it was a whole thing, and it was really tasteless. She came out as transgender. She says all these racist things, and she says it's for views, and, like, it works, but it's nauseating. That's what it is. It's nauseating that this content is what the platform wants. And I'm a naive creator that hasn't collabed. I don't have anyone to collab with. I have actually tried. I have some people to collab with. I have tried, but it's very hard. And it's also pandemic. That's how I pronounce it these days. I'm just trying to take some of the sting out of it because, you know, people like Trisha are people we think about to not think about reality, right? I could be talking more about Putin and J.K. Rowling, but I'm not gonna. But, you know, Trisha is currently bringing a child into this world with a man who has said he intends to impregnate her and then dump her. And it's a very dark tale, because if you've been following her for years, like, she's been through her fair share of boyfriends. All of them, afterwards, have scathing things to say about her. And she is kind of at a point in her career where everyone kind of has stopped working with her. And look, you can say other people all you want. At some point, when there's smoke, there's fire. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like Trisha spent way too long worried about, like, what Gucci perfume she was going to wear next, or what Brazilian butt lift doctor she was going to next time. And, like, in 2018, she had her assets seized by the IRS. And I'm assuming it was just negligence. Yeah, she had her assets seized by the IRS. So she, at one point, was, like, millionaire rich. And now it's estimated she makes somewhere between $20K and $30K a month. And that's not bad at all. It's not, but it's nowhere near what she did make, which is why it's fascinating, because she hasn't changed her lifestyle one bit. You know, she eats fast food every day, which isn't that expensive, but the things she does, if you go to her channel, you'll understand. It's interesting. She owns a mansion, but the state of it is, it's a sty, you know, and it's essentially a McMansion that's filled with junk. It has a really nice, like, luxury bathtub that's filled to the brim with junk. And if she's making $20,000 a month, $15,000 of it is going towards her mortgage. Yeah, because she doesn't own it. She's also got, like, expensive cars. She's got all these bills that she can't pay. And so she's on every social media platform these days except for her original channel. Why is that, you ask? Alright, before I tell you, I'm going to give you a few guesses. Why do you think Trisha is not at her main YouTube channel? It's got 5 million subscribers, so it must be a cash cow for her. Well, I hate to say it, but Trisha's views on her main channel are terrible for what they should be. And a lot of people use metrics. It's like, well, she's got 5 million subs, so her views got to reflect that. But they don't understand that, like, YouTube as a whole, like, YouTubers do die. And they don't die as in, like, they don't get views, but, like, they go past their relevance. H3H3 is past its quote-unquote relevance in terms of peak viewership. That doesn't mean that the channel dies. That means that they get less viewership overall, but they still get consistent viewership, right? I mean, my channel, the only reason I'm in a frenzy where I upload every day is because it keeps my momentum going, because before I was kind of stagnating at a low. Because YouTube very much is, like, you can work as hard as you want and you can make very, very quality videos, and that's what I try to do. But also, ultimately, the amount of views what you make gets doesn't necessarily reflect how good it is. That's not how it works, boo-boo. So anyway, here's what makes it darker. The man she is planning on bringing this baby into the world with is not just any man. He is the brother of her ex-coworker, and he is also an alleged rapist. And he has been on record multiple times saying how much he actively, like, detests her. And she, in turn, has said pretty nasty things about him, too. So it really makes you wonder, what's going on there? That's all I'm gonna say. Like, this is not a professional laying out the information for you. What this is a, what the hell is this? I'm genuinely curious. Because, like, their content is essentially them hanging out while he can barely get 2 words in maybe in 30 minutes because he has the charisma of a wet paper towel. And she is trying desperately to connect with someone in the room, but she can't because she's so incapable of being genuine with the camera, and she's so incapable of forming a connection with him. And you can tell he doesn't really like her and she doesn't really like him. But they're raising a baby together because, quote, she's always wanted to be the mother of a boy. She's very particular, by the way, about wanting to raise a boy, which is very weird. And, like, this person, I will maybe do a video in the future documenting more just her, like, detailed history of narcissistic abuse. And maybe then it'll make a little more sense when I say certain things about her, you know? When I hear that she wants to be a mother, I get kind of weirded out because this is the woman whose daily life consists of filming 10 mukbangs of her eating fried chicken and then crying on her kitchen table and live streaming it and then filming a TikTok of her dancing. And also, with all of it, I should say, I've left out the most important part, that, like, amidst this pregnancy arc of hers, she is a known liar and has said for years that she struggled with fertility issues and had been trying and could not. And then all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that she's pregnant immediately, like, without trying. And it, as a long-term fan of Trisha, and a lot of fans of Trisha share the sentiment, we're at this point just waiting to find out that she's lying. I'm not kidding. And I would love to be proven wrong, but Like, she just has such a bad track record. This is the woman who said that she is a trans man, essentially to troll the gay community. Because that's all she has going for her now. Like, this is an example of a consequence of her actions. Like, short rundown on what happened with Frenemies is Trisha essentially walked out on a really good gig. I'm not going to oversimplify it, but like, that's what happened. And the more information that comes out about it, the worse Trisha looks, and she's really desperate to have no more information come out about it. Because when your own sister is decrying you, or Trisha's boyfriend is an alleged rapist, and his sister wants nothing to do with him at this point. I think that is a sign when you should evaluate yourself, and you should take a step back and be like, okay, what am I doing? But, you know, he has said he intends to impregnate her, and then leave her, and then sue for full child custody, and then mooch child support. That is what he has said to people when asked about what his plan is about Trisha. And this is the weirdest part, she knows. She knows that that is what he said about her. So, well, she's been trolling YouTube for years. Surely she has an ulterior motive, right? Well, maybe she does. I mean, that's a lot, I'm sure, because she still has fans somehow. Believe it or not. But I honestly don't know how. Now, if you're familiar with Trisha, you might be asking me, Lyra, are you interested in Trisha? She's not doing well on YouTube anymore. It's true. Subscribers are still over 5 million, but her views are really, really bad for a channel of her size. And this is to be expected when you've been on YouTube a long time, especially as long as she has, and you have never, and I mean never, had original content. She doesn't. Currently, the most original content she does is ASMR, in which she's basically completely copying a much smaller channel that gets much better views than her. So in her pregnancy, she is doing full OnlyFans pregnancy photo shoots, which is, I am not going to shame somebody for doing that, get that coin, but then she's also trying to marry that with a weird like family channel vibe she's going for now, because she's going for a new rebrand. You know, every few years her channel goes through a rebrand, and the new phase is like her and her husband, and they're having a child together and excited to build a life together, and it's very wholesome, but it feels very fake, and it makes a lot of people wonder if this baby is coming at all, or if this is a stunt, as with her many stunts, you know? Because you could say, oh, Trisha wouldn't lie about that, but Trisha would lie about everything. Everything. Now we're going to go in with our trusty eyeliner. I almost said our trusty dusty eyeliner, but honestly that would be true. Like, I do not think there is currently something that Trisha is above lying about. And that's just the sad truth. Plus, I hate to say it doesn't help that before she announced her pregnancy, heavily drinking, to this day we still see her eating horribly, being around people who are smoking, not acting like she's pregnant, you know, or at least not acting responsible about her baby, right? But that's to be expected, honestly, of Trisha when she's pregnant. The problem is, too, though, is she announced her pregnancy on Valentine's Day. I don't know, a lot of the dates of her, like, announcing, she didn't announce her pregnancy on Valentine's Day, did she? Did she really? Like, that seems calculated. And other weird things, like, she hasn't done a single video with her family since talking about her pregnancy. And in 10 years of YouTube, you would imagine there's a lot of footage of her family and of her boyfriend's family. And you, knowing her, she's running out of content ideas. She's re-uploading videos from years ago. And that's something you do when you need content. Well, you'd think that some content would be filming my boyfriend's mom reacting that he proposed to me. Well, apparently she did film it, and she wasn't happy with the results. So that tells me that maybe the people in her life don't believe that this pregnancy is real either. They don't believe that this woman that was supposedly notoriously infertile is just having this miracle baby. And did I mention that her, like, incredibly lucrative job with Frenemies and doing the podcast with H3H3, she got in a relationship with H3H3's wife's brother immediately after that fell through, and it did seem like there may have been a bit of a motive, because they clearly have no chemistry, and he treated her horribly, and I assume that he is still treating her horribly. I mean, in her latest TikTok, where she is, like, dancing, he can't even look at her, and he's smoking a cigar. And, like, this woman is allegedly pregnant, and we're not, and I hate to say it, Trisha, but you've looked more pregnant before. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I'm not going to body shame her, but, like, and she's also doing all these pregnancy photo shoots, like, showing off her pregnancy belly and her mommy's milk, and then she's also trying to brand herself as just, like, a wholesome family vlog channel. And you have to understand, you could be like, well, no, she's not trying to be wholesome. She's very open about her scandalousness. It's like, yeah, but she has an audience that are children. She does. And I would know because at one point, as a child, I was part of her audience. And some of them are bound to be there still. I mean, they aren't all wisening up at the same time. Lots of kids can be dumb as hell. We're going to go into our concealer, trusty dusty concealer. Did I mention that she's having a baby at almost the exact same time as H3H3, Ethan, and Hila? And you could say it's a coincidence, but she has said many things over her history on the internet about, like, the sorts of things she calculates. So no, I wouldn't doubt it, because she's literally said she gets her boyfriends fat so that they won't leave her. And she really does have, like, a weird, like, lengthy, documented history of fattening her boyfriends. And I wouldn't judge her for that if she didn't say she did it on purpose. Because then it kind of seems suspicious, doll. Because I'm not pulling these accusations out of nowhere. There's an entire subreddit filled with receipts. And honestly, I'm tempted to compile, like, a video that has more of a detailed explanation of why I feel the way I do about this person. Other people have done the research already, and I'm going to include links to those people down below, because I just think it's really important to give those people credit, because it is not new that Trisha is a piece of shit. It isn't. What is new is that I'm finally deciding to talk about it, because this pregnancy arc, I've had enough. I've literally had enough. The weirdest part about all of it, I think, so into the idea of it being a boy. She's like, I know it's gonna be a little baby boy. I can just feel it. And, like, that's just weird. It's toxic. It's really toxic. And you can say, no, Trisha's an ally, because she's tried to rebrand herself so many times. But Trisha is probably one of the most transphobic people to have been on YouTube all these years and get away with it. Not to mention her joke of it coming out as trans video, but she has said so many things about how, like, yeah, I would love to come out as trans for views. And so I can't say anything of hers seems genuine to me. Maybe that's a bias of mine that I need to check. But maybe she's just been on YouTube too long to ever come across as genuine. Like, I remember her as that girl that was just lying about random shit about, like, storytime videos, you know, back when storytime videos were a big thing. And that's the thing, right? Trisha has to evolve and change with the trends, but she's unable to because she's out of touch. And the only apps that are working for her are TikTok and OnlyFans, and those really do not blend well, sweetie. I don't know if you know this, but you cannot promote your OnlyFans on TikTok. So she's doing these, all she does on TikTok is these weird cringy trends where she tries to hop on board and seem like she's a 12-year-old. And it's like, Trisha, honey, you haven't been in high school for, like, decades. Maybe it's time to stop. And she can't. It's actually really sad because I see what's going on. and I can tell that something's wrong. And now there's a baby involved. And that is when it gets scary. Like, it was already scary, but like, child abuse is so real. And when somebody is the kind of destructive narcissist, she behaves in a way that is very destructive. That's all I'm going to say. And when you see that, and that person is like, I'm going to become a parent, you become very worried. And if she is lying about becoming a parent, that's even more fucked up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to disagree. It's less fucked up, because at least then there's no child abuse. Like, lying about child abuse is at least better than not, or it's better than abusing children. I don't know. Comment down below. Which do you think is worse? If Trisha doesn't have the baby and is lying about it, or if she does have the baby? I personally think it's worse if she does have the baby, because, oh my god, girls. Especially in that relationship where he's clearly intentionally only making her have a baby with him so he can trap her for child support. It's very, very dark. Meanwhile, they spend all day eating fast food, clearly miserable together. Like, how is she going to parent? How? I mean, I'm assuming she's going to foist the parenting off on someone else. And I'm not going to speculate about what she's going to do, because if I ever do, she's going to surprise you. Like, if you would have told me that she was going to pretend that she had a bunch of alters and make a joke of dissociative identity disorder, and then claim that her friendship with this other YouTuber validated it, and that YouTuber was sent so much like weird negative attention they ended up having a panic attack, but there's no accountability, because all Trisha was trying to do was troll people, and it worked. And that was back when she was getting lots of views. You know, she used to actually get a lot of views. She used to say things like she idolizes Hitler. She said that on YouTube. She's come out as pro-Trump, anti-woman's choice, called any woman that wants an abortion a feminazi. And I don't think she believes a word of it. I think she is doing it for attention, but that's what's dark, is that it gets her attention. And that's why, okay, I haven't been doing a good job of tying back, but the thesis of why I'm interested in this is, as a young YouTuber, I want to know what's going to get me views, what's going to get me clicks, and unfortunately, that is how a lot of these people built their careers. There's another YouTuber I'd like to talk about maybe someday. He started out as literally a kid that just accused Miranda Sings of grooming him and being a pedophile. Which, call it what you want, but after knowing that situation and seeing how it unfolded and how it basically just resulted in him getting a YouTube channel where he did tea, I think it was a gross misrepresentation of events for attention. And yeah, you can call me out, you can cancel me, but I think he intentionally misrepresented the situation, knowing that people would be like, oh, so she's a pedophile, even though he knew that that wasn't what he was saying. And he could fall back on, well, no, I wasn't trying to say she was a pedophile, you guys. But he got the attention of, oh, this is the kid that accused Miranda Sings of being a pedophile. And then he just kind of went on to make a career off of talking shit about people, you know? And that is a career now on YouTube, because you can't go on YouTube and just be like a nice person and have like a good time and expect people to watch. People don't watch that stuff. People want to watch drama. People want to watch train wrecks. People do not care if you are like I tried to put out my album on YouTube and I did get some views, but ultimately YouTube did not promote it, you know? And I'm not saying that with a chip on my shoulder. I'm not like, oh no. But it's like, okay, but why are you promoting this video of a 600-pound woman eating? Or why is the algorithm recommending me Trisha Paytas pretending to be trans? Because I would much rather someone like me, an actual trans person who has a story to tell, and I think things that could help make a lot more trans people be safer and make smarter decisions. And I think that my message could make the world a better place. But YouTube isn't recommending. But that's the thing. I suppose they're no longer recommending her. Maybe now is when she gets her comeuppance. That's the thing. The subreddit that I've been into, r/Trishyland, it can be kind of toxic, but ultimately it's about holding her accountable for all this stuff over the years that is compiled over the internet, because she just tries to delete and act like nothing happened. Delete, act like nothing happened. But no, Trisha, you can't do that anymore. You can't just keep lying. And at some point, I think she shouldn't be able to just make millions off of existing on YouTube. You know? At one point in her life, she just made millions a day. And now she's not. But she's still acting like it because that's all she has left. And it's really, really sad. I'm not trying to take that from her. But like, why is YouTube still paying her is my question. She doesn't have original content anymore. And if I get canceled, whatever, like, she doesn't. And there's so many YouTubers out there that do and try, and every day they're actually trying, and she's not. I mean, she is trying in the ASMR department if copying another channel counts. And honestly, good for her. Keep making that niche content, because I would like to see her stop profiting off of eating fast food on camera. There are so many people on YouTube that profit off of this, and it's weird because there's a whole eating disorder community that has developed online, and I think that this is a product of that, or maybe it's a symptom of it. Oh, what? There's so much. This is a rabbit hole. Alright, girls. So this is my completed makeup look. We're going simple today. We're not going to do any jewelry. Not going to do earrings. I think it's not exactly understated, but I've always loved teal around the eye, and my boyfriend said that he wanted me to try another teal around the eye look, so I did. And I wanted to gab with you girls. So let me know if you like this content where I like do my makeup while I talk about current events, like while I talk about drama. If you like it, or if you want to see me talk more about Trisha, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. As a young creator, like, it really is hard out there for a bitch, but we're so close to 4K, and I would love to get there. And anyway, be kind. I know this video doesn't exactly seem like me being kind, but I think I was pretty fair to her. Like, some people say some really awful things about her appearance, and I didn't even mention that. At least I hope I didn't, but like, ultimately, it's like, just stop being horrible to everyone, Trisha. Bye.